The Plympton Podcast.
Portugal House and Sing It Louder with that. Welcome to the Plympton Podcast, recorded on this Thursday, the 28th of May, 2020. I'm Andrew Hill. Coming up over the next half hour or so, a mixture of music and features, largely revolving today around the recent election of Chris Mavin, Plympton resident, as the new Lord Mayor of Plymouth. More on that after we've heard from an artist who originates from the southwest of Sweden and whose interest in music arose as a young child when he took up the guitar. Daxton and Reach Out to Me.
You've told me more than once to show you my intention. My brain gets blocked at times, but now somehow I'll give you my attention. You've got to know that I ain't a person who understands all the clockwork of our romance. You make me feel so alive, always there in my mind. But I just don't know if I'll dance with the lights on. If you're gonna be moving on solo, wait a second, 'cause they're playing the best song. I'll be there if you reach out to me. Reach out to me. Reach out to me. I'm a rolling stone. shaking 'cause they're playing the best song. I'll be there if you reach out to me. 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 Reach out to me.
Daxton, reach out to me. Well, Plympton resident Chris Mavin was elected the new Lord Mayor of Plymouth in an unusual ceremony last Friday. Normally there's a lot of pomp and circumstance at the Guildhall in a formal ceremony. Well, because of the lockdown and social distancing regulations this year, it all had to be done virtually online. Fellow Labour Party member and councillor Brian Vincent proposed Chris Mavin to be the new Lord Mayor.
Chris has many interests outside of the council and politics, and it's always nice to hear of a friend's interest. But before I move on, there is something that I would like to share with you. Prior to scrutiny, we used to have committee system, and Chris, being a forward-thinking person, worked out a system of the best seat to be in at the meeting. Back then, tea ladies used to bring tea into the meetings whilst the meeting was in progress and serve up the tea and biscuits. Chris had worked out where the biscuits would be placed on the table. He was then able to get first choice of the biscuits and made sure he got the best ones, and everyone else had to have what was left. No one ever cottoned on to this, and I know to this day Chris still has that weakness for biscuits, as he asked fellow councillors to buy him packets of biscuits to replace the ones he's had eaten at home without telling Sue. I myself have known Chris for many years, and he has a great personality and always makes himself available to give support and advice. With the coronavirus and having self-isolated, Chris has made sure to keep in contact with me to see if I was okay and to keep my spirits up. I've been getting calls from him 2 or 3 times a week, but that is Chris, always thinking of others. Chris, on leaving school at 16, like a lot of young people, then at the time started in the dockyard. Chris stayed there until his retirement. He joined the GMB and later stood for union rep and was successful in being elected. One thing with Chris, he can talk the talk and walk the walk. The dockyard walk. Then this led on to Chris becoming a convener, which meant you had to do more talking and you did less of work. But you had to know your stuff to be able to represent your members or you would be out. On one occasion, Chris attended a weekend conference in Exeter, which meant having to stay overnight. He was waiting to check in and overheard the receptionist say to another delegate in front of him he would be sharing with someone else. Chris got in quick and said, "I want to share with my mate Pete." She looked at him and said, "Fine, if you want to," but she had him down for a single room. At this point, there was a big queue behind him listening to this. He now had to quickly change his mind and tells the receptionist he would take a single rather than cause a fuss. "It's not a problem to change," the receptionist tells him. No, says Chris. "Leave it, I will take the single." To the relief of Chris and Pete, they both got a single room for that night. Today is one of the most important events in the Plymouth City Council's diary. The day we elect the new Lord Mayor, the first citizen of the city. Chris, I wish you and Sue both a fantastic year. I know as another Plymouth boy, you will be bursting with pride in having the privilege of representing our great city and the people in it. As a friend and a colleague, it gives me great pleasure that I move that Councillor Chris Mavin be formally sworn in as elected Lord Mayor of the city for the ensuing year.
Tell me, mother, did you miss me when I broke free? When I grabbed a bus to anywhere just to be elsewhere. I long to belong. Hitched a ride into the sunset, felt like Juliet. On my way to meet my lover, a dream uncovered. I long to belong, and we've got nothing to lose. I'm a kite, you're a string, and you made me see there's nothing to lose. I'm a wave in your sea, and you made me dive into the unknown. Tell me, mother, did you miss me like I missed you? I've been on a million journeys trying to find me. I long to belong, and we've got nothing to lose. I'm a kite, you're my string, and you made me see there's nothing to lose. I'm a wave in your sea, and you made me dive into the unknown. I'm a kite, you're my string, and you made me see there's nothing to lose. I'm a wave in your sea, and you made me dive into the unknown. Nothing to lose. Oh, we got nothing to lose. Oh, we got nothing to lose. And we've got nothing to lose. I'm a kite, you're my string, and you made me see there's nothing to lose. I'm a wave in your sea, and you made me dive into the unknown.
Mike Parr and Into the Unknown. I see that our local MP, Sir Gary Streeter, has had over 300 emails this week on the Dominic Cummings saga. And Sir Gary's original stance was that Dominic Cummings should be sacked or resign, although he said that after hearing his rather extraordinary press conference in the Rose Garden of 10 Downing Street, he changed his mind and took the view that Dominic Cummings had just about kept inside the rules. Right, well, enough of that. That's the only time we're going to mention Dominic Cummings in this edition of the Plympton Podcast. Never going to turn our attentions once again to the election of Chris Mavin as the new Lord Mayor of Plymouth, and the local Conservative group leader Nick Kelly was the person to second his nomination.
Councillor Vincent has set out for you the credentials that Councillor Mavin possesses, his long and distinguished service as a councillor in Sutton and Budshead, as well as more view wards, have equipped him well in understanding what is important to our communities here in Plymouth. His schooling and apprenticeship in the city mean that he has followed a path that many of our fellow citizens have taken themselves. Service in the dockyard and avid support for Argyle throughout the ups and downs of the last few decades are part of the lives of generations of Plymothians, and it will be great to see that experience reflected in our first citizen. One qualification that is needed at the moment that Chris might find challenging is dexterity with information technology. I'm reliably informed that his abilities with laptops, video conferencing applications, and all things technical might, shall we say, require some burnishing. The positive side of this is hearing how his inability to take a photograph with a mobile phone has reduced his partner, Councillor Sudan, to tears, mostly of laughter, but possibly a hint of frustration. Apparently, there are a distinct lack of photos of Sue in the family photo album. I have it on good authority that one of Councillor Mavin's favourite roles was that of Chair of Leisure Services between 1991 to 2000. He had many hours of fun during this time, and along with his Vice Chair, Councillor Pete Smith, due to their antics together, they were described by Councillor Vivian Pengelly as the terrible twins, clearly non-identical. However, despite these fun times, we have Councillor Mavin to thank for bringing the National Fireworks Championships to Plymouth, along with many of the music festivals that we still enjoy today. Councillor Mavin enjoys singing, but due to the current lockdown, he has missed performing to an audience with the Plymouth Area Police Choir, of which he is a member. Ever resourceful, Councillor Mavin now performs from his shower each morning, to the delight of his neighbours. It has been reported that one of his current favourites is Don't Stand So Close to Me. Another part of the role of the Lord Mayor is to preside over the deliberations of the Councillor's chair. I think we all know that this cannot be the easiest part of the job. I'm sure Councillor Mavin won't mind me saying that he will be well aware of the traps and pitfalls that await him as he takes on the responsibility of keeping us all in order. The best gamekeepers have all had some experience of poaching, and Chris is no exception. Councillor Mavin's term as the Lord Mayor will cover an incredibly challenging period for the city. It will be a year that will be remembered far into the future in a way that very few others will. Despite the fact that some of the city's most important celebrations, commemorations and openings have had to be postponed, I believe that the role of Lord Mayor of Plymouth will be uniquely important over the coming year. Along with the rest of the world, we are facing threats to the health and welfare of our citizens and an economic challenge that many have not seen in their lifetime. It is in times like these that a sense of community, of all pulling together and valuing our historic institutions can be embodied in our first citizen. As a true Plymouthian with many years of public service and a massive commitment to our city and its people, I believe that Chris will dedicate himself fully to the role of Lord Mayor of Plymouth, and I wish him every success in doing so. My Lord Mayor, I therefore second the motion that Councillor Chris Mavin accept the declaration of office of Lord Mayor of the city for the ensuing year.
In an ancient thundery town, the Plympton Podcast. So hit me up, you know it's all I'm waiting for. Oh, would you hit me up? I've been waiting my whole life. Oh, for you to hit me up. I've never felt this way. I wanna turn back time, save me some heartbreak. Oh, would you stay for me if I let you in? So secretly, yeah, my melody, yeah, my melody. Would you stay with me if I let you in? I just like the way you are, yeah. All the ways you blow my mind, yeah. People always told me I need someone like you, someone who gets me and someone who's cool, yeah. And I like the way you are, and now I want it all. The way you move, I've been following that. you stay with me if I let you in? I just like the way you are, yeah. All the ways you blow my mind, yeah. People always told me I need someone like you, someone who gets me and someone who's cool, yeah. And I like the way you are. I just like the way you are, yeah. All the ways you blow my mind, yeah. People always told me I need someone like you, someone who gets me and someone who's cool, yeah. And I like the way you are, and now I want it all.
Mind me and like the way you are. Well, some rather sad news earlier in the week, and that was a man in his 80s sadly died when he fell from the Merfield Road overbridge over the A38. So our thoughts there are with that gentleman's family and friends. Now, in terms of local bus services, Plymouth City Bus are doing a survey at the moment. They're seeking input from people who have been passengers in the past, people who are also currently passengers and maybe passengers in the future. So they're hoping that this will help them shape the future of bus services here in the city. So if you want to take part in that, head over to Plymouth City Bus's website. That's at plymouthbus.co.uk. Look at the news section and it'll take you through to a survey that you can fill out and have your input into that consultation process. Right, back to the election of Chris Mavin now, and we're going to listen to him being sworn in as the new Lord Mayor of Plymouth.
Lord Mayor, I invite you to take the declaration of acceptance of office. Will you repeat after me? I, Chris Mavin,
I, Chris Mavin,
having been elected to the office of Lord Mayor,
having been elected to the office of Lord Mayor,
hereby declare that I take that said office upon myself, and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof. According to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you.
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm if I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. moment. Can we stay forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
Gamma Skies and loving this moment. Well, various things are off, unfortunately, in terms of usual events that we have over the course of the summer. The Plympton Gardeners Association have announced that their summer show, which normally takes place in August, is cancelled this year. Likewise, the Cormid Show, they've taken the same decision, although it's possible there may be a smaller horticultural display in the village hall later in the year, possibly around September. More on that as we get nearer the time. Also, the Plympton Fuchsia and Geranium Group, they've cancelled their summer show. And the Kingsbridge Vintage Bus Running Day, which takes place usually in September, that's also been cancelled for this year as well. Also the Midsummer Festival events in Plympton St Maurice, so that's the choir concert that usually goes on a Friday night. Also the Lamb Feast and the Open Gardens, Hidden Gardens Open Day the following afternoon. That's all off, sadly, for this year. And also the special Mayflower event they were hoping to put on in early July on Castle Green, that's had to be cancelled as well. So a lot not going on this year, and not quite sure what we're going to do if lockdown gets eased. We're going to have to find other things to do throughout the course of the summer. So we'll see how that goes. And also an appeal not to have fires, as bonfires, in your garden or to make them elsewhere, and also to be careful when you're using barbecues, particularly if you're on moorland or away from your own home. The local firefighters have been involved in a number of shouts over recent weeks dealing with garden bonfires and also the effects of people being careless with barbecues. In fact, there was a fire recently at Cam Woods they had to go and deal with. So please do be careful if you're using barbecues, and do try and refrain from having bonfires. Right, now we're going to listen to Chris Mavin giving his acceptance speech to be the new Lord Mayor of Plymouth.
It is a great honour and a privilege to be elected as your Lord Mayor for 2020. A key year in the history of Plymouth and a challenging year for us all. I know that my year as Lord Mayor will be different, but that doesn't make it any less significant. I know I'm going to have to meet and interact with people in different ways. And as already mentioned, my IT skills are going to have to rapidly improve to manage the new world of virtual meetings and celebrations. But I am so looking forward as a proud Plymouthian to having the best job in the city for 12 months, your Lord Mayor. I have always wanted to be Lord Mayor and serve the people of Plymouth. So many thanks go to my council colleagues in the Labour and Conservative parties for placing their trust and faith in me to carry out this role. And to the many friends, family and council officers who will be supporting me throughout this coming year. I'd also like to thank Councillor Richard Ball for his commitment to the Lord Mayoralty last year, and I hope my council meetings run as smoothly as he managed. Over time, Plymouth has seen many visitors and adventurers come and go, bringing to our city a rich tapestry of history and taking our history elsewhere. This year, we are due to celebrate the 400th anniversary of the sailing of the Mayflower with a varied programme of events and the opening of the box. Marking these incredible events will have to change due to the impact of coronavirus, but how and when we celebrate these occasions shouldn't stop any of us thinking about the future of our glorious city. The coronavirus has affected every household in the city. Everyone has been confined to their homes. Many will have had the virus. Some will have been really sick, and some people have ended up in hospital, and sadly, there has been a loss of some of our loved ones. But there's been an amazing community spirit which has risen to the fore in the face of adversity across Plymouth, where you see not only the city helping its people, but the people helping each other. Caring for Plymouth, a collective of 9 organisations, are helping more than 5,500 of our most vulnerable residents. And it is what makes the people of this city so special. Local authorities such as Plymouth City Council have been the 4th emergency service, supporting vulnerable people, communities and businesses, and this council has risen to the challenge. I want to put on record the city's thanks to all the people who during this time have been out on the front line. Key workers, many of whom are now recognised for the true value of the work that they do. National Health Service staff, retail staff, care home staff, refuse collectors, delivery drivers, police and firefighters. Everyone who is supporting the people of our city, and the list is endless. You know who you are, and I say thank you. In February, my wife lost her father to dementia. He had led a full life and was a lovely man. The family was supported by charities in Lichfield, helping Sue's dad and the family to cope with the challenges of living with dementia. It affects the whole family in so many different ways: practical living and the emotional stress of life. So for my Lord Mayor's charity, I've decided to support Memory Matters, an organisation set up in 2010 that has helped change the face of dementia support in Plymouth. In 2017, Kate Smith and Laura Taylor opened Moments Cafe, a trip down memory lane for a lot of people. The profits are used to support the work of Memory Matters, who last year had projects that reached over 75,000 people. During these current times, their compassionate support is even more important as families have to isolate in their own homes. My chaplain for the coming year will be Brian Gerry. Brian has been a local Methodist preacher for over 50 years and is based at Sherwell United Church. He takes services and co-directs the choir. And it is important to Brian and I that in Plymouth we are inclusive and celebrate all faiths. Now, I will arrange to transfer the Lord Mayor's chaplaincy insignia to Mr. Gerry. I hope that many of you feel as passionately as I do about the value that Plymouth Lord's Mayor brings to our city, not just at royal and civic occasions, but supporting our military, the private sector, and all of our communities right across the city. It is something in which we can all be very proud. To that end, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what I, as your Lord Mayor, can do to support you. And as we look to the future and dealing with life during this pandemic, we need high hopes and brave hearts so we can go forward together for a brighter future. Bless you all, and please stay safe.
So many congratulations to Councillor Chris Mavin, who becomes the 82nd Lord Mayor of Plymouth. He's going to have a rather unusual year, different from what his predecessors have been used to, but we'll see how the year pans out for him as the months go by. And I see also, I didn't know this, perhaps you didn't, there are otters in the Forter Valley Nature Reserve. You might be aware that a lot of work is going on there at the moment. They put in the Forter Valley Link Road, and also that is involving at the moment a new culvert being built, and they've been putting in the sections this week, which apparently are going to help the otters stay around on site. So I look forward to seeing them. I must admit, haven't seen otters there, but apparently they do exist. Well, that's it for this edition of the Plympton Podcast. Hope you've enjoyed our selection of features, news and music. We're going to play out with Craig Reaver and Special About You. Till next time, bye-bye for now.
The Plympton Podcast.
Got a dopamine rush, got a major league crush when you're next to me. Got my heart upon my sleeve, can I hide the way I feel when you're next to me, girl? Got the kick in every move and I fought it's like a fool for you, for you. Wish I knew just what it was, but why should I make a fuss? Just stay next to me, girl, next to me, girl. Something special, don't know why, something special that I like about you, about you. There's a mystery entwined, something bigger to define about you, about you. Am I the only one to see? Got me down on my knees, taken by your gravity. And I just know you got that something special about you. Got me under lock and key, but I don't want